bring in, as promised, Academy Award-winning documentary filmmaker Michael Moore. Michael, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is Rachel Maddow. Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Keith.
There's been a spike in the desire to own guns in Connecticut. Statewide, over 90,000 guns have been authorized for sale. You know how I feel about it.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Good evening, my fellow patriots, my fellow Americans. You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. Seems like we're having a little bit of audio issues. We'll log in here to check some things out. So for some of you guys that are here at PatriotFB.com, I'm going to need a little bit of your help tonight to make sure that we have the right audio levels. So if you're listening out there at PatriotFB.com, please let us know in the chat if we sound okay, too soft, too loud. For some reason, our meters aren't working that well, and so we'll get that worked out with some of your help tonight. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. You can join us live here every Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. Tonight's show is going to be actually a good show. We're going to have Prepper Recon's going to be joining us here in a few, and we will go from there. Yeah, there we go. All right. Thank you, guys. I just want to let you. It's bizarre. Our meters are. Our meters are acting up. They're actually saying that we're maxed out sound-wise. So I got to figure out what's going on there. But, we'll get through it. That's the thing with live, when we do a live show. Actually, let me kind of bring it up to the normal level. Is that too loud, guys? How do we sound there? This is our normal level. Are we sounding okay? Sorry to do that, but that's what happens when you get live radio. Live podcasts and everything. So we brought the sound up a little bit more to where we normally have it, and we're going to see if this works. But, Prepper Recon's going to be joining us. Go out to his website, prepperrecon.com. We are, all right, much better. All right, meters are, see that? They call those idiot lights, and for various reasons and stuff. So we're gonna have to take a look at that. It was amazing. Today, actually, we are looking at a new computer. Yes, a new computer. Actually, we're repurposing an old computer to be able to handle the audio quality. I was able to get my hands on a really, really nice sound card. This, if you got sound cards and then you got sound cards, and this sound card that we got our hands on is a really, really nice state-of-the-art sound card. I am going to be the envy of most radio stations with this card, but so we have to get a computer, so we're repurposing another computer every day. It's like it never ends here. Never ends. But we do have good news. We have cracked the code. We are able to now stream the podcast directly over our live feeds without having to do anything crazy. If you guys are listening today, JJ Show was on. We're going to do AVN tomorrow, and it's all automated. That's right. It's all the magic of computers these days. So we got a lot of things to talk about. Obviously, Prepper Recon's going to be joining us. There is some disturbing news going on. I don't know if you guys heard about this mother. Actually, two. We have an Amber Alert. A mother has taken a child. Another mother today has killed her teenage daughter and teenage son to get back at her husband. And we're going to talk about it. You're going to get my take on it. And it goes hand in hand with what's going on in general in this country. We'll talk about that. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Obamacare. We always do talk about Obamacare and some of the disturbing information that's coming out of that. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. Join us live here every Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. or on the web 24/7 at www.patriotfb.com.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. We're having a little fun here. I don't know. It's kind of one of those days, you know. Some good things happen. Mostly good today. We got a little bit of snow here in the Great White North. Talk about the Great White North. I just got to tell you something. Our governor said, man, I'm going to brag. I am going to brag. If you guys were listening to yesterday's show and stuff, we were talking about moving. And we are. We're going to, I'm moving. I'm going to build a compound. I'm going to get away from this craziness. But I got to tell you, the state of Wisconsin is kicking butt. They just announced. We need a drum roll. We need a drum roll. I don't have a drum roll sound effect. When we get our new system up and running with the pro cards, we'll have all that stuff. God, I can't wait. Keep never ends. But so here's your drum roll. Do it in your head. Some of you guys, got double drums going on in your heads. And so the state of Wisconsin just announced today, by the year 2015, we will have, that's a plus in math, have a 1 billion, with a B, surplus. Hello. And of course, the libtards and the Dems out there are trying to figure out how they're going to spend it. Now, this is on top of a governor who passed legislation to give money back. At the end of the year, everybody in the state of Wisconsin on their tax returns are going to get roughly about $300 back, over and above. And on top of that, they lowered our property taxes this year. Now, I don't know what state you live in, but I would venture to say, ain't going on in your state. Go, Scott Walker. Good for you, man. Thank you. And then today I was actually watching C-SPAN a little bit. And, we had the governor of Michigan, Republican governor of Michigan. And he was touting their economic success. He was doing the State of the Union today. And I was watching it. And he's, they're not quite up to par with us. But they were comparing some of their numbers to this great state of Wisconsin. But it's just unbelievable. $1 billion. Taxpayer money coming back. Well, that's what Walker wants to do with it. The libtards, the Dems out there, they want to spend it. And that's just fundamentally what is at stake here. We have a lot of issues, obviously, with all of these other politicians. There's a lot going on there. But I have to say, Wisconsin's open for business. And, and that was one of the things that our governor was talking. How do we get a surplus? Well, number one, fiscal responsibility. You shut the unions down and their $100 million a year drain on our economies. That's right. It's exactly what he did. $100 million in one swoop. No one lost their jobs. No one got laid off. No one did anything. A lot of protesting going on because they knew that they were losing $100 million of revenue, the unions. But all the union people, last time I checked, still have jobs. Actually, they've added jobs. Just outstanding. Good for you, Governor. Good for you. Good for you for the state of Wisconsin, the people of Wisconsin. It's just great times. Good times. And everything. And even Michigan. So, right before we come to the break, I apologize. Normally I try to hit my cues. I try to hit my cues a little bit better than I did. But this is for Sean. Sean's out there. You're not listening, but I'm still going to play it because I went out and found it. So we're going to play it, by gosh. And this is for you, since you're sitting in class, trying to stay awake.
Good morning, class. Good morning, class.
I love that. I went to parochial school. when I was younger, and we were not, well, for various reasons, we were not allowed to listen to Cheech and Chong. And actually, my dad was stationed at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona, and when I went to parochial school, and my uncle, who lived there, we used to love going over to my uncle's house because, he was a single guy. Well, I think he was single. Who knows? But it was quite an experience. I could tell you, I was exposed to a lot of adult reading material at my uncle's house. We as a young man, we enjoyed going over there. And also Lowenbrow. He's a big Lowenbrow drinker. But also, his Cheech and Chong album. So that was out there for Sean. Stay awake, my friend. Stay awake, in class. I know it's hard. I do. I really do. I've been there. I remember when I was when we lived up in the UP. It's funny. We joke about this about my father. We went from the desert to the UP. We went from the desert, 100 degrees, swimming year-round, 20, pretty much all the time, to 70 below zero with wind chill, 340-something inches of snow. And you always hear about these military guys that get in trouble. For whatever reason, they ship them off to Alaska, Nome, Alaska, or whatever. But that was, we were shipped up there in 1979. One of the worst snowstorms that they had. Literally, you used to you had to dig out of your house to just get to your car. You had to plug your car in. And then we had snowmobiles, of course. So that was kind of cool. It was a great time, though. One of the best times of my life because I had the outdoors and everything, and I was an outdoors kind of guy. And but we joke about it that my father must have really pissed someone off to go from there to the desert. But one of the other things I learned, and Sean, this is for you. There was a group. It was another comedian group. Bill and Bob McKenzie, the McKenzie brothers. Take off, eh? Hoser. But the coffee sandwich. Highly recommend it. I actually did that one time in college. I think there was alcohol was a factor, but it was a good time. So coffee sandwich, my friend, that also works as well. So getting into the news and everything, we're going to have Prepper Recon. Mark is going to be joining us here in a little bit. We're going to be talking about all things prepping. Can't wait. I love these shows. I really do. Obviously we're going to be talking about the moral decline in this country. It's amazing. I sit and I listen to these talking heads on TV, and they're always going, well, what's going on with the world? You got exactly what you voted for. You really did. And let me kind of expand on that. They have taken all form of personal responsibility and thrown it out the window. They really have. I was listening today. There was a man executed. I don't know if you guys picked this up in Ohio. He was executed. And the news was talking about this poor man. He's anguished for 15 minutes. Oh, really? This is the same man who killed a mother and their unborn child, brutally murdered them, brutally hacked them up with a knife. This twisted, sick person. And the press, of course, is, 15 minutes. See, I'm sorry. I don't know about you. You guys are going to get a little insight in me. I'm one of these people that, going back to Bill McKenzie brothers, they had a game called Beer Hunter. You take a 6-pack or 12-pack or 24-pack, and you take one of them and you shake the beer up, throw it in the box with the rest of them, and then, you reach in the box and you have to put it right next to your face and open it up. Kind of like Russian roulette with beer. Well, that's my approach to the death penalty. See, I'm a firm believer that if you get the death penalty, I'm sorry, I'll have to answer, I'm sure, to some deity for this one. But I'm sorry. When you are convicted of a crime and you are truly convicted and there's irrefutable evidence of your guilt, and I'm not talking about forced confessions or anything like that, but I'm talking, we got your DNA, we got pictures, we got video, we got everything. And you are sentenced to death. I'm a firm believer that that'll take a round. Take 365 bullets. Take one round that's live, throw it in with a box, and then every day when you wake up, put you in a chair and let you suffer for your crime. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. Maybe I need to go get help. But that's, you do that a few times and word gets out, that's what you're doing. But of course, the 8th Amendment protects you from that. But it's a thought. Doesn't mean we can't think it. There's a lot of thoughts that we have. We just can't act on them, right? But, yeah. So, going back to this woman, I don't know if you guys heard about this. To get back at her husband, she killed her teenage daughter and son. Killed them as retribution for a divorce. And I only have to blame, they're all sitting there, granted, she's a wicked woman. She totally is. I get that. She's a prime candidate for the chair and the bullets. But the thing is that, the press is all, going around and they're talking about these kids and they're talking about society and they're talking about violence and they're talking about all that. You get what you put out. This government, this mindset of someone else is responsible for you, someone else is responsible for your kids, someone else is responsible, you didn't do it, it's someone else's problem. That's exactly what this government teaches. That's exactly what this government preaches. Don't worry, we'll take care of you. This is what you get. There is no more accountability. I've always said that when people start doing what's morally right versus what's legally right, we'll be back on the path of pulling this country back around. And let me kind of explain that to you. I even in my professional career, in my life, trust me, I've sat down with lawyers and they've told me on many occasions, I've had failures in business and I've had successes. And they go hand in hand with each other. And there's many times where I'll have lawyers, I'm going through it right now, tell me in a business that I invested in, tell me, well, you need to protect your personal assets, bankrupt the company, walk away from it. I have lawyers, that tell me that. I get, and these are people that I keep on retainer. I mean, we need them, especially in what we do. You need lawyers, trust me. Government's on our door every day. But they're telling me, just walk away from it, protect. And then, of course, I'm sitting there going, well, wait a minute, I can't do that to these people. They have, they have businesses, they have families, they have employees, they have mandated health care that they got to provide. I can't do that. Now, my business partners in the business, they had no problem doing it. And what's really, actually it works out for me, I think. This is one case we're definitely doing what's morally right is better than what's legally right. Because basically all of the partners have walked away, except for one. he's been there from day one. Been on my side, been very supportive of what we're doing. But the other ones have all, disappeared. Don't hear from them anymore. And actually, two. I'm sorry. Don't forget George. George, I didn't forget you, buddy. But they, they've been supportive. But the other one, bankruptcy, left, filed, basically dumped all the debt on me. But the thing is about it is it's actually going to work out. From doing morally right, this is a great example. From doing what's morally right versus what's legally right. He took the legally right thing, and I took the moral road. Well, we came up with a plan where we're going to have everybody paid back. Everybody paid back by the middle of June. Now, what does that mean? That means I got a really nice company that I am in very majority control of. And that's just that, but that's what happens when you do the right thing. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, though. I do know that. Sometimes it doesn't work out. But you know what? At least you can sleep at night. You can go to bed. You can go to bed at night. It's rough. As all my buddies and friends are, taking their vacations and stuff. No, we're staying here working 15 hours a day, 20 hours a day. But we'll get everything taken care of. And at the end of the day, I'll be able to live with myself knowing that I did not give up, that I did not screw anybody, and that we lived up to our obligations and what we're morally obligated to do. But going back to this society, you see it all too often where the decision is not, I ask myself, how does a Howard Trump who flies around in corporate jets and does all that, how can he declare bankruptcy? I don't get that. How can a mayor, cheat, break the fundamental commitment? A governor, they're, all too often in the news, it's riddled with them. I've always said, if you watch how your business partner treats their spouse, and if they cheat on their spouse when you're in Vegas or wherever you're at, or traveling overseas, they get the hookers. It's an adult show, so we say. And they do that on their spouse. What makes you think they're going to be honest with you? Think about that. And I've seen that with ex-business partners. That's why they're, I kind of run at that point. I cash out. I've done it. Now, granted, they made millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I lost that opportunity. But, once again, I'm not party to that behavior. But going back to this country, you have governors who have cheated, fundamentally cheated in the eyes of God, their family, their community, broke the most solemn value that you should be keeping, and that's your vow towards your spouse, to your God. And you break that, but it's okay. It's perfectly okay. That shows you the decline of our country. That shows you where we've gotten. Now you're seeing it. Immoral acts being thrown at us. We got middle school kids who now have a poster of sexual. I don't know if you guys saw that. PatriotFB.com. Get out to the website. PatriotFB.com. Take a look at it. They posted it up there today. Middle school kids being exposed to sexual positions and sexual types of sex. A poster in middle school. Are you kidding me? So then the news the talking heads, the number one culprit in spreading this degradation of our communities, media, has the audacity. But you know what? They're playing both sides of the fence. they make money either way. You know, it's the old Don Henley song, you know, Dirty Laundry. Remember that song? They're making both sides. They create the problem, they report on the problem, and then they sell us the problem. They sell us the problem. You know, remember the New Year's Eve this week, or at January 1st? We had an announcer on national TV making fun of our Pearl Harbor survivors and vets on national TV. Where was the outcry? You had a national news host talk about defecating in a person's mouth, regardless of who they are. Defecating. Where's the outcry? You have, I mean, we can go down the list. It's just utterly disgusting. And so when they get on TV like they do tonight, and they say, oh, this woman, as tragic as it is, and it is tragic. Don't think that I don't think so. It is tragic that this woman has done what she's done. It's tragic that another woman has kidnapped their child. Now they've got Amber Alerts looking for her. It's not surprising, though, because we as a country, we as a society have allowed this to happen. Now, I know there's a few of us who are standing up, but it's a minority. Most Americans, most citizens are numb. They don't know what's going on. They know what's going on. They just don't want to deal with it. It's that throwaway mentality. You know, we talk about this. I've talked about this before on this show. That these Dems, these libtards, these gun grabbers will sit there and they will criticize us as gun owners because some insane individual who's typically, they never report about this, who's typically of the mindset of liberalism, goes into a school and kills kids. And they call us murderers. But yet they pass laws, and they have the night of 1,000 warning. If you have children, please cover their ears. But I'm going to use this full word out there so you understand the evil that we are fighting against. They have a telethon. Literally, they had a telethon. The night of 1,000 vaginas, where they're raising money to help fund abortions. You want to know why we are, as a country, in this predicament? You know, it's disgusting. It's embarrassing. Literally. Having a telethon to raise money for abortions. That's what this country is becoming. That's what this country has become. Now, we are a minority. They have minimized, and it's by design. Evil has taken over. Pure evil. They use mainstream media. They use print. They use psychological warfare on us, and it is. Some of it is funded by government agencies. They use economic slavery. They imprison individuals. They do. There's a man sitting in jail in prison right now for executing his freedom of speech, his First Amendment rights. They didn't charge him for violation. They got him on a contempt charge, which a contempt charge is a charge that's forever. That's what we become. So it doesn't amaze me. It doesn't shock me. I am not amazed, unlike the newscasters, that a woman who goes and butchers her children to get back at her husband, I'm not amazed. These are the seeds that you have sown. And the reaper is collecting its bounty. As sad as it may be. And that is why we have this show. To get the message out. To get the message that you are not getting in mainstream media, because they're going to talk about all this and they're going to shift blame and they're going to, try to get one more viewer. The solution's simple. We need to start doing what is morally correct versus what is legally correct. We need to start thinking about our community more. And it all starts with yourself. It all starts with your family. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard to take your kids out of public schools. I know it is. But I ask of you, if they're getting 6 hours a day of this mind-numbing, altering programming, you need to be spending time with them, not watching football, not doing that, but you need to be countering that. You need to be giving them the alternatives, the alternates. If you can't afford, I get it. You can't afford to send your kids to private school or homeschool them. I get it. But you at least need to be countering that. You need to be spending time with them and reading to them the Constitution of the United States, reading to them the Bible. Giving them the skills that they need to separate right and wrong, just and unjust behavior. The time that you spend with your children watching American Idol, that's an hour that you can spend with them playing a game, teaching them the social skills, the skills that they're going to need in life. Maybe playing music instruments. If it's running around the house like a bunch of banshees banging on stuff, think about it. That's what we need to be doing. It's a simple solution to a very diabolical plan. So, we're going to take a break. When we get back, of course, we will have Prepper Recon's going to be joining us. But you're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton. You can join me live here every Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time, or on the web at www.patriotfb.com. That is www.patriotfb.com. Love to have you. Tell your friends about us. Some of the things that we're doing, obviously, if you go out to patriotfb.com/radio, you can listen to our new radio station. Not only do we broadcast these shows and other fine podcasts throughout the week, like AVN in the morning with Mike and JJ McCarty at 2 to 4. Prepper Recon, we're going to get him on. We got On the Move with Mac Worley on the weekends. We're going to be adding a lot more over the week. But get out there. Get out to patriotfb.com. When we get back from the break, like I said, we will have Prepper Recon joining us in the studio.
They say that the stock market's gonna crash. They say that every single one of us is gonna let down while they walk across our back. But I'ma stand up. I'm gonna put my fists in the air. No, I don't wanna have to bring my guns, but I'll be ready if it goes there. But you can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Care what they say if you wanna. Turn your back on the country and you right now. But I don't wanna. So let's stand up, put our fists in the air. No, we don't wanna have to bring our guns, but we'll be ready if it goes there. 'Cause we're the epitome of what's left of the USA. We're hard-working, honest, and we make our money the good old-fashioned way. But you can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that this is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Forget what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country and you right now. But I don't wanna. No, I don't wanna. Well, I say that the country's fine. With a little hard work and prayer, we can get her back on her feet. 'Cause I believe she belongs there. So let's stand her up and brush off the dirt and dust. A Lady Liberty needs our help from every single one of us. But you can lay down if you wanna. You can run away if you wanna. You can pretend that tyranny is totally okay if you wanna. You can play dead if you wanna. Get what they said if you wanna. Turn your back on the country and you right now. But I don't wanna.
out-of-control spending, a government that no longer works for the people. Had enough? Then vote for Stone Anthony for president. Replace politicians with a citizen statesman. www.stoneanthony2016.com.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
Hey, you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. Wow, that button actually does work. Cuts it right off. Does exactly what it says it's going to do. So, but you can join us live every Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. Central Standard Time, or on the web at www.patriotfb.com. Right now, joining us on the line, not in the studio, is Mr. Mark. Hey, Mark, how are you, Prepper Recon?
Jeff, man, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm on it tonight. I have these moments, where I just I'm all over it.
I know you're on our righteous rant tonight. That's awesome. I love it.
I was watching. I'm just so fed up. I'm tired. I'm just fed up. We got to create another show called No More Political Correctness, or we got to come up with some title. And the show just needs, the whole premise of the show is that we're not politically correct. We say what we want to say and we just do it. And I'm not, I don't care who I offend. I know Howard Stern's already got that market wrapped up, but it's just I was going on the news tonight, and I was getting ready for the show, and I'm watching this, and I'm watching these commentators up there. Well, she was a nurse that was working 2 jobs, but hey, how's that economy working for you? Oh, well, she's going through a divorce. Yeah, the decline of the family values. So everything that they were saying, I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, I can attribute that to some attack that our government is putting on something, be it your job, be it your family, and what's really sad is, and when any child is killed, it's sad, period. But apparently the news were like, well, these were bright, accomplished young man and young woman. They were honor roll students. They were in the band. They were, they actually, who knows, they could have maybe cured AIDS or cured some other disease or something, but we'll never know now. We'll never know. And I don't know. I just, I had to. I had to get out of here
really
and just.
Sad.
It's depressing, and we sit idly by, and of course we flip the channel, and of course you got American Idol, and because our attention spans are less than our dogs, 3 minutes or less, we're already looking at Jennifer Lopez, or we're already looking at some singer make a fool of themselves on national TV, and we forget. And that's all by design. I've said that time and time again. That's all by design. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Galatians 6:7 says, "As you sow, so shall you reap."
Exactly.
So we've sown to the whirlwind. Sown to the wind. Now we're reaping the whirlwind.
Yeah, exactly.
And we kicked God out of the classroom.
Yep.
We took prayer out of school in the 60s, in the early 60s. We took the Bible. The Bible was a textbook.
Yes.
Yeah. In the 60s.
Yeah, now kids get in trouble. They can't read from it.
Yeah. And so now 50 years later, This is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
This is we planted our crop.
Yep.
And now we're getting a nice big bountiful harvest.
Yeah. But the good news is, though, Mark, is that we do give them back their Bible when they're in prison. We do allow them to read the Bible in prison.
Yeah.
They can read it all they want to.
Yeah.
They can go to mass, they can go to whatever church, they can go to whatever program they want to. So, at least, we it's I don't know, our priorities are just so screwed up in this country, and it is what it is. It's sad, is what it is. It's sad, and I don't know, my friend.
And then the lawlessness is it's so pervasive all the way through our society, from the mother that just took her 2 kids' life and herself, and to the guy that killed the pregnant mother. Yep. And they're crying because it took him 15 minutes to die in his execution.
Yeah.
It's just lawlessness, and it's just systemic. It's all the way. Like I said, this is 50 years later since we planted this crop of wickedness by turning our back on God, kicking him out of the classroom, and raising kids that were never told, never educated about God, because that's the most important thing to educate a kid about is listen, you were divinely created. God's got a plan for you. Yeah. He's also got some expectations about how he thinks you should live your life. And they're all in this book. It's not that big, It's smaller than War and Peace, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So, here, read it.
Yeah.
It's got some really good ideas in there about how you should live your life. And if you'll do these things, he said in Deuteronomy 28 that he'll bless you.
Yes.
And if you don't do these things, he said in Deuteronomy 28 that he'll curse you.
Yes.
And now how can you do those things if you don't even know what they are?
Yeah.
Because you were never taught.
Yeah.
So it's the one thing kids really need to know. And, we never should have had the federal government allowed in schools.
Yeah.
They had no business in education. They have no business in most of the things they do. The 2 things they're supposed to do: guard the borders.
Yep.
And they can't do that. Our borders are completely porous. Yep. And that's really about all they're supposed to do.
Well, regulate trade amongst states. Interstate commerce.
And keep us from hurting each other. Enforce contract law and all of that kind of thing, and keep us from hurting each other. And they don't do that either.
Nope.
You look at Wall Street. Stephen Cohen just got off. Well, he's not getting off, but I think they didn't charge him.
Yeah.
The guy that ran SAC Capital.
Yep.
And it was just pervasive all through his firm. Yep. Everybody under him was busted for insider trading, and he was taking like 30% of every single account. And people were paying those fees because he had all these kids in there doing insider trading, and so they were getting like 60% returns. So they were giving him 30% and still coming out 30% ahead.
Yeah,
and he's walking around free, right? Yeah. Right next to John Corzine. They're probably both at the Bull and the Bear right now, having a scotch,
laughing.
Yeah, and John Corzine just blatantly commingled his client's account money into his own account for trading.
Yeah. And the thing is that, and if you go back to these guys, and the one factor is that they all contributed to, particular presidential campaigns. And, they're all, it is a sense of, we're just amok. We're just running amok.
No rule of law.
There's no rule. And that's why I said I'm a huge fan of just doing what's morally right. Like I said, I've sit in rooms with attorneys and they're like, oh yeah, just walk away. Just blow it up. And I'm like, how can you do that? These people got payroll they got to meet too, and they got this and they got that. And, I sat there with an attorney and literally sat there and listened to him. I said, you guys have not put one plan together, that makes sense from a being, the right thing to do. And they're not, their attitude is, look, Jeff, you're not paying us to to be your moral compass. You're paying us to tell you what the law is and what you can get away with. And I'm just like, that's crazy. That's insane. So I don't know. It's just it irks me. I get irked. I'm irked. I'm irked tonight. I'm Urkel, and but it's okay.
And in the grand scheme of things, those guys are little fish. You think about Lloyd Blankfein over at Goldman Sachs. It was proved through the traders at Goldman Sachs emails that they knew all those subprime CDOs that they were selling at rated AAA. Well, they knew they were all junk.
Well, they were offsetting them. They were actually trading against them.
Fraud.
Yes.
So that side of it's fraud, and then they made just buku bucks on the short. By shorting all of those. Subprime CDOs that they were claiming were AAA.
Yes.
So that's insider trading.
Yes.
Because nobody else had that knowledge, because they're the ones that packaged them and sold them, and they knew they were the only ones that really knew what was in it.
Yeah.
They were the only ones that even privy to the quality of the instruments.
Yes.
So that's basically Stephen Cohen's insider trading and John Corzine's fraud all in one big package there, and nobody went to jail over that.
Oh, there is not one person that's been prosecuted over all of them.
A bunch of Cohen's traders went to jail, but he didn't.
Yeah, it's just I get so aggravated, I guess is the word, but it is, like I said, and I use this term, it is what it is. We know what we're dealing with. We are dealing with a government of corruption. We are dealing, and I'm telling you, if you ever get persecuted in this government, if you ever get prosecuted for anything, you're not going to get a fair trial. You really aren't. And it's just amazing. It's utterly amazing. If you did something that was marginal and say it was just a mistake based upon a lack of interpretation or a lack of knowledge, you're going to get hung. You're going to get hung to dry. And because the guys that are criminals that have the lawyers and stuff, the lawyers tell them how to frame their arguments or how to frame their speech, and so that they don't get in trouble. And they go, it goes right. President, Clinton. It depends on what is. It's like, no, it doesn't depend what is. Did you or did you not? But it's that whole legal speech. It is, and that's why I tell people, if you're ever talking to a police officer, if you're ever talking to anybody in the legal system, you're a fool. And I'm sorry, you're a fool. Even when an officer pulls you over, have your driver's license, have your registration, hand it to them, and pay the $52 ticket. Don't argue with them. Don't do nothing. Just get. And when they say, well, do you know how fast you're going? Say, here's my driver's license. Here's my here's my vehicle registration. Write me the ticket. I'll go pay it online.
Yep.
I don't even talk to them anymore. I just kind of look at them. Just
way.
And it does tick them off a little bit, but I don't. I have no conversation with law enforcement whatsoever, and that's sad though, because I got friends who are cops, but when they're wearing that uniform, I ain't talking to them. We can hang out, and when they're out of the uniform, but the minute if they got that uniform on, I'm not talking to them. I don't care who they are, what they, how well we know each other. I'm not going to say a word. I'm handing them my driver's license, my registration, and I'm saying, write me the ticket so I can get on my way.
Yeah.
And,
do you watch Frontline, Jeff?
I do. I don't want to say I do. I catch bits and pieces of it off the internet. So.
They just did a really, really good expose on the SAC Capitol, and it was and they were talking about all of the gray areas in of what's considered insider trading.
Yes. Oh,
because there's all of these things that they do. They get these tips from companies, and they showed Stephen Cohen's deposition, and he's just sitting there saying, "Well, it's kind of fuzzy, and it's really hard to say what's insider trading, and I don't know." And he just did, and I think he was legitimately didn't know a lot of the stuff. I know a lot of it he was stonewalling the prosecutor, but a lot of it I think he legitimately did not know.
He knows exactly. That all goes back to that speech that you're taught when you hire an attorney. And they teach you how to speak. They do. They teach you how to speak and what to say, and you know, I mean, look at the testimony that happens up on Capitol Hill, where they're standing right there, and they go, well, today they were they were asking, well, how many people actually paid for their premiums in Obamacare? Well, we don't know. Well, you know, yeah, I mean, you got an idea. But they just because you don't, okay, so it was 1,028, and it might be 1,029. You have an idea, but they sit up there and they go, I don't know, you know, and that all goes back to the Iran-Contra, you know, with President Reagan. I mean, and I'm going to put this firmly at his feet when he showed the rest of the world that you could get up there and say, I don't remember. And I don't remember. And then, you know, everybody else was like, well, wait a minute, that's a great defense. I don't remember. But you got these politicians. It's crazy how much amnesia. If I went to my boss and they said, well, what's the quarterly sales for this month? Or what did you do? I don't know. I don't know. But keep writing me the check. Keep giving me my paycheck, by the way. You and I would not have a job within 10 minutes. It's just, they know it. It's the game that they play, and then they, you know, it's.
But they're allowed to. They're allowed to hire industry the specialist to comment on, you know, sales from the industry and so on and so forth, and so they'll end up getting insider information from the companies that these specialists that they hire work for. Yeah. And so they make all of the trades based on this information, and you know, and then they have what they call rumors. You know, well, there's a rumor out that this is going to happen, and it's just absolutely mind-boggling. And
I've got buddies. We talked about on the show. I got buddies that say, you know, CBOE, Chicago Board of Options Exchange, and the Merc up here in Chicago. I have friends that are in the pit. They're pit traders, and they pay anywhere from $12,000 to $30,000 a month. They lease a seat to be in the exchange. These are independent traders. These guys don't work for Goldman Sachs. These are individuals, you and I, and they're paying that much money. They're paying anywhere from, you know, $10,000 or so all the way up to $30,000 to be in the pit. The reason why they're in the pit, and I'm like, how can you, you know, how does that? These guys are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and the reason being is because they call it front trading or front loading, and what they do is that they hook up with someone in the SPOO pit or the S&P or wherever, you know, whatever pit they're in, and they know who the big institutional investors are. They know the guys that are going to be buying for Morgan, or the guys that are buying, usually it's pension funds. So they hook up with these guys that are trading for pension funds on these exchanges, and they know that these guys are going to buy, you know, $100 million or $200 million or $300 million, you know, dollars worth of XYZ commodity. So what they do, they front load. What they do is they will buy it before they do it, and then these guys will come in and they'll buy it. Of course, you're going to get a bump. Now, you're talking fractions of pennies and everything, and to you and I, it's like, well, but these guys are buying 1 million shares. So, and it goes up a penny. And so they dump it off in a you know, 20-second window. You know, these guys have made more money than you and I do in a week. And it's just it's crazy what they do. And then on top of that, they do other things like they'll balance, because it is still an honor. Now, they have this thing called efficiency that they built into the market, because most of it's electronic now. That's why the oil commodities, they're able to manipulate them the way, because they're not electronic. They're still you and I screaming at each other in the pit. And because of that, you develop friendships. I know how the game works because I know these guys, and we talk about it. I'm one of these guys that I ask. I go, actually, literally, we'll go down and start asking people. And what they do is they develop these friendships. And say a guy's short on his paper. He'll go to lunch and he'll be like, man, he goes, I made a bad trade. It went against me. His buddy, because it's all done on paper. Now, they have guys that are supposed to be watching these transactions, but it's done on paper. But because you're a good friend, I'm going to scratch your back. I'm going to forget the trade. Don't worry about it. My guys, my consumer, or the guy that I represent, or the institution I represent, they're none to worry. They don't care. I don't want to hurt you because you're a good friend, and maybe you'll scratch my back, or something down the road. So I'll forget the trade, and they write the trade off. And typically the trades don't have to be reconciled until the end of the day. So during the day, even though I say I bought 100,000 shares, if I'm a good friend with you and we're buddies and we, hang out on the boat or the yacht on the weekends and our kids go to the same school or whatever, and I'm, I buy 100,000 shares from you, the institutional investor, not me, the individual, but you, the guy that represents the municipal fund or whatever. I buy 100,000 shares and say it goes against me later on in the day. And I come to you and I say, hey, man, I'm going to lose my house. Northbrook, Illinois has the highest foreclosure rate. And that's where all the traders usually live, is Northbrook, and then they move into Winnetka and that area as they get wealthier. But the thing is it's going to go against me. I'm going to lose my mortgage on my house or whatever. So you're going to go, okay, buddy, I'll forget that, and they just write it off. At the end of the day, they just write it off, and they act like it's
an absolute casino.
Yeah. Oh, it's worse than a casino, because in a casino you have a pit boss, that crack your knuckles. Here it's all.
There's thousands of cameras watching each player.
Yeah, here in the pits, man. It is
Wild West.
It's a boys club. Well, it was funny because I'm 6'6". I'm a monster, and they were like, you would be awesome in the pit. Because, you ought to watch, when you see it on TV and you see them screaming and push, there's guys now they have dress codes now, but there's guys that wear platform shoes. We're talking like these are guys that have custom made shoes that are like 4 or 5 inches tall so that they can be seen. It's crazy what these guys do, because it's all about efficiency. The least efficient the market is, the more opportunity you have to make money. Because if you can get your trade in before anybody else, and if you make a half a cent, but you're dealing with huge quantities. And seeing the other thing too with options and futures, options is this, you're just placing an option to buy. You're not actually going to execute it. And a future is that you're saying in a future time, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy it. But an option is there is no obligation to buy. You're placing an option. It's kind of like a down payment, and if you don't execute it, you can just walk away. Where a future, unfortunately, you're saying, yeah, I'm going to buy it, but I'm going to buy it in a future date, and you hope the price goes up or goes down based upon your position. And these guys, I'm telling you, man, they manipulate the heck out of the market.
They're just skimming all that value and all of that wealth right off the top. Oh,
it's crazy. Arbitrage is huge. Arbitrage is huge, where these guys will do forex trading, and a currency will close in Europe and then open up in Asia, as from sunset. They call it sunset. So as the sun moves through the earth, as markets are opening up and closing and stuff, there's fractions of pennies that are discrepancies between the currency markets, and these guys are exploiting that with computer software, and they're doing billions of dollars of transactions in nanoseconds. And it's just, there's a company in Chicago right now that does these are technology guys, and all they do is exploit markets from one market to the other, like a price of grain, or say price of IBM on one exchange, and on one exchange is this price, and over at another in the Asian market, it's off by 1/16th of a penny, and these guys will buy 1 billion shares of it at 1/16th, and then they're doing that every day. I'll tell you, Chicago has one of the highest speed internet connections in the world. And they're talking, there was a special not too long ago on these guys where they're actually, this company is actually putting in their own fiber optic. They're running their own cable. They have their own satellites. They just bought their own satellite, literally space satellites, so that they can have speed. And they're saying a nanosecond is the difference between 100 million and 1 billion to these guys. And it's crazy. It's crazy. It's insane.
It is. It's insane.
And so then you got this dumb politician who's going to come in there and think that they're going to roughhouse these guys. These guys, they dream smarter than these guys do when they're awake. These politicians do when they're awake. So it's the geek shall inherit the earth. No, and it's so, but as long as everybody's making money, everybody's okay. As long as you're winning American Idol, as long as your TV shows, the numbers are up, it's okay.
Yeah. Stock market's still going up, so nobody cares that so much is getting skimmed off the top.
Well, but the reality of it is not going up because you and I are putting money in it. I haven't invested in the market in years.
No, it's all the money that the Fed's printed and pumped into the banks.
Yeah,
that's supposed to be lent out, and they're not lending it out.
Well, and that's the thing.
Probably, thank God, because once they start lending it out, it gets this multiplier effect, and that $2 trillion that they've put in over the past 2 years goes to $20 trillion, and instead of a 20% increase in our money supply, we get a 200% increase in our money supply. And if you think your coffee costs a lot now, you ain't seen nothing.
Oh, it's yeah. I mean, it's mind-boggling. Did you see the
Devil Baby videos?
Yeah, I saw that. That was hilarious. I was laughing so hard. It's sick, but I'm laughing.
It's sick.
It's like those videos you get where they say, "Look at the car; it disappeared behind the trees. Watch it and you watch it, and then all of a sudden, but now you become pretty. I guess immune to that. But I used to. Have you ever watched that show Scare Tactics?
No.
There's a show on Sci-Fi. I'm a big Sci-Fi guy, so there's a show called Scare Tactics, and it was pretty good where they would put people into these situations and scare the bejesus out of them. And I've always said that's dangerous, and the reason being because it's only a matter of time before someone shows up and someone's playing a gag like that, and the guy pulls his gun and drops them or something, something of that nature, because they actually think that they're in mortal fear of their life or whatever. It's only a matter of time.
What about that show? What would you do?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody can get shot in that.
Did you watch that today? Oh, I do watch that show. What would you do? I do watch those scenarios. They had a guy today. It was sad. But that once again, this guy, he was he didn't speak English. He acted like he was Mexican. He was working in a liquor store. And the patrons of the store were in there, and then they had one guy who went in there and literally intentionally broke a bottle. When you dropped the bottle, broke it. So the manager comes out, and because the Mexican guy didn't speak English and everything, they blamed it on the Spanish guy. It's all set up, and they're seeing what the patrons would say and everything. None of the patrons came to this guy's aid. Helped them to say, they all act like, I didn't see anything, but they clearly did. One even went so far as to say that he spoke Spanish, and he said that the guy was confessing that he broke the bottle and he's sorry for it.
Wow.
It was on today, and I was watching that, and I was like, are you kidding me? That, people would be doing that it's regardless of what nationality, how you speak it, once again, they just, I just shake my head. I was watching that today, and I was just shaking my head. It's like that guy in Michigan that got shot in the door, and at a convenience store, and people are just stepping over his body as he's sitting there bleeding. Literally, they're coming in, paying for he's in the double door. The doors are hitting him, and people are just stepping over his body. Paying for their gas or getting their cigs or buying their lottery tickets. And just stepping over his body. And it goes on like that for about 5 minutes until the manager, the store clerk, is like yelling at the guy. He's not moving. And then they realize he was shot. And died. It's
terrible.
It's sad.
Just a completely decayed society. It is.
Yep. So,
speaking of guns, Hollywood director Harvey Weinstein, he's making a new movie with Meryl Streep. Did you hear about that?
Oh yeah, they're gonna wish. The
anti-NRA movie.
Yeah, the NRA is gonna wish it was never. I sat back and I said, doesn't that sound like the press secretary for Iraq. You Americans are never. We will burn you. You will. Harvey Weinstein. I'm just like, what? But did you hear Howard Stern went after him, which was pretty funny. Where Howard actually he announced it on Howard Stern show. We talked about it last night on the show, and Howard Stern came back and was like, "Well, yeah, there was a movie, or someone made a comment. There was a movie very similar to that. It's called Schindler's List, when the Jews and the rest of the people didn't have guns, and the government confiscated the guns. So, yeah, it's called Schindler's List. But it's just." As he
said, he said he never owned a gun, and he said I never will.
Oh, good.
Now this guy's a Hollywood director, so he's got to have some serious money. So if I were a crook living in Hollywood, man, I know where I'd be going.
I know exactly where I'm going. We joke. There's a convenience store here. It was actually in the NRA magazine, Kenosha, Wisconsin. It was in the NRA magazine. It's literally catty corner from the police station here in town. And they have been robbed 3 times. And it was funny because they were talking about how they don't allow guns and it's a store. They were actually trying to pass law because we have concealed carry and also open carry in the state of Wisconsin. They were trying to pass law that says that you can't carry a gun on a gas station. And they were huge on it, and they were funny because they were like, "Yeah, we've been robbed 3 times," and it's hilarious because the NRA came back and said, "Well, maybe if you'd stop announcing that you don't allow guns on your premises, maybe people will stop robbing you." So it's just
no common sense,
none whatsoever, none, zero, zip, zero.
Now, you heard about this new IMF working paper?
No, what's this?
Reinhardt and Rogoff, which they're really, really smart economics professors, but they wrote this working paper for the IMF and saying that the only way that we're going to get out of this global debt situation is through a 10% world savings tax.
Yep, a tax. And a world 10%. Yep, and a world redistribution. Of a world realignment. They call it a realignment of financial markets. Yep. But you know what?
Crazy to be after that kind of talk's coming out. You have to be crazy to be keeping the majority of your wealth sitting in a savings account or checking account.
Well, do you know what you have the autumn, the American spring that's coming up. I'm actually, and I'm trying to promote this. I got to get it out on other shows. I think what we need to do is that we need to set a date in which all of us as Americans, all at once, walk into the banks and withdraw our money.
Boy, that'd be a great idea.
And we need to we talk about, the million bikers and the million trucks and the million march and the million whatever. And those are great things. And I mean, I don't want
withdrawals,
but if you got 3%, because right now the banks only maintain about 3%. They used to do 10, but now it's about 3%. So if you got about 3%, if you got, if you get a small amount of patriots on a certain date, walk into a bank and just say, it's not like you're doing anything. You're not hurting yourself. You're not, because it's your money, right? And you just take it out. Just take the money out of the account. And who's to say in 4 days later you just don't go to, or take it to the credit union or take it to another bank. But just walk into your bank on a set date and withdraw all your money. Withdraw it all.
Most branches only have $15,000 in the branch.
Exactly. You would see. One thing I am watching when I do watch football. We need to start. The government's probing us. They are. They're seeing where our soft spots are. They're moving resources into there. They're doing all that. Well, we need to start doing it back to them. We need to start head faking them and stuff like this. Now, I know this type of talk's probably going to get me arrested or something else.
Disappeared.
I'm going to disappear. If I'm not on the show, guys, please.
You're gonna have a heart attack like Brett Bart.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's a sore subject. They still don't know what killed him. And they even had the audacity to actually blame his wife, thinking that she might have poisoned him. Yeah, that's how bad it is. But But the thing is that I think that we ought to do that. I think we ought to come up with a date, and we ought to, as Patriots, we ought to start putting it on every show, every website, everywhere. We got to come up with a date, and it needs to be a significant date. It might be the day that the Federal Reserve was enacted on in December, or whatever it is. Well, that would be awesome in December, right before Christmas holidays. And we just need to go in and take all our money out. Just take it all out. And walk in there and, I want my money. And, and then we'll see. You'll see how stable these banks are. You'll see how stable this financial system is. They would freak out. They would shut the banks down, and you'd have armed guards outside, and you would see firsthand what it would look like when a banking holiday. And, we need to start doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Having these little head fakes.
Yeah.
Letting the government, we need to probe them. Yeah. What was it? I was reading today where politicians are complaining now because citizens are now using drones. Private drones. They say they're flying over the politicians' homes and stuff like that. I'm a firm believer, and I think I'm going to buy me a drone. And when a politician comes here, I'm going to fly that sucker right over, with my little video camera. We'll be videotaping them. And I'm going to have my little miniature loudspeaker on there, tell them to go home. It's just, we got to start doing stuff. We really do. I'm not talking about being illegal or breaking any laws. But who knows? With the new law, you can't protest if Secret Service is around you. I don't know. Oh, well.
It's a mess. Well, and you were talking about the chemical spill last week in West Virginia, and now it's in the Ohio. I guess they think that it's not at high enough levels that they're going to have to close the water reservoirs for Cincinnati and Louisville. I guess.
Well, yeah, because those people are already getting enough fluoride and all the other chemicals and
It's trace. It's never know.
Cancer. They're going to die from radiation poisoning anyways. The thyroids are all going to go, kapooey here in the next couple of years. 30 years from now, who cares about that? We'll have socialized medicine by then.
Yeah. But it's a good reason to keep a good store of water around the house.
Yes. Yep.
The people were actually fighting over water.
Yes.
This is one of those things that we take for granted, then that's our prepper topic for the night. I know we covered water a little bit a couple of months ago, but it's usually these types of things that are sort of the wake-up call that will make people take action.
Yes.
I know after Hurricane Wilma, I got serious about food storage and batteries and things like that, and that's the second best time to prepare is after an event. The best time is before, but after is the second best time. So, if it's a motivator for some folks to say, you know what, I need to quit depending on the government to supply my water and my electricity and my food and everything, if it spurs some people into action, great.
Yeah. Well, my daughter and I this weekend, I bought 6 blue water container, the blue barrels from a guy. We're going out to pick them off Craigslist. He had them on Craigslist.
Awesome.
And
I got mine.
And so we're getting $15 a barrel.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're gonna go
20.
Yep. We're gonna go pick those up at this weekend, and we're gonna fill those bad boys up. Keep them down here in the basement.
Very cool. Mine are just my water catches.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're allowed to have those in my county or not.
Yeah, diversional water resource or whatever they call it. Yeah, you're gonna be on the news. So, but no, the other plan.
Have a wreck like Michael Hastings tomorrow for divert my rainwater. I don't know.
And I'll tell you, Mark, I will tell you this. I was actually talking to the realtor today. 20 acres in the Ozarks. We are building a compound. It's a 4-year plan if we can get there to 4 years, but I got 5 more years for my daughter to get out of high school. So I'm going to be kind of stuck here until then. But stuck is wrong. I shouldn't say that. It makes it sound like it's her fault. But but 20 acres. We are looking for about 5 families to go out on this property and to turn it into a little compound. So I'm just throwing it out there. Just this kind of throwing it out there. We figure we'll take about 10 acres of it and turning into agriculture or farming, and there's other property adjacent to it. So if we can get enough, I might buy another 20 acres right next to it. So that's awesome. I woke up yesterday and I'm in a rant. That's what happens when Sandy's gone. She's busy. I go out and spend money and buy land and stuff. But hey, come on, got to have our property. At least it's not in Nova Scotia. That's where I wanted. That's where my bug out. At least this is a little bit closer to the Mason-Dixon line. And it was up to me. I found 90 acres up in Nova Scotia, right there on the ocean. Right in the bay, in Biscayne Bay, but that's a little too far north for Sandy. Yeah. Being a Florida girl, so she's a Florida girl.
The Ozarks are nice. That's a nice area of the country.
Yeah, especially where we're at. Yeah, so I'll get all the paperwork next week, and
congratulations.
Yeah, well, I have to have my bug out land property, and of course I'm buying we're getting the motorhome because we're going to be on the road this summer with Stone Anthony traveling this great country.
Ah, very cool.
And so yeah, we're excited. So water. Let's talk about water.
And now for this particular situation that they had in West Virginia, the only thing that would have helped them is to have water stored up, like what you're doing with the 6 50-gallon buckets in the basement. And if you got that kind of room, if you got a basement, why not? You've got the space. It costs $15 for the bucket. It's going to cost you 25 cents to fill it up out of the tap.
Yep.
Why not? You put a quarter cup of bleach in there to make it'll last at least a year.
Sure.
Because that'll keep anything from being able to grow in it if you got a nice good seal on it. But whatever you can do. Juice bottles, we mentioned this before when we talked about water. Juice bottles, rinse those out real good and fill those up with water. Your Ocean Spray cranberry juice bottles, those are great. That's a really nice quality plastic, and because of their shape, they stack together real well. That's what I've got my water stored in.
Sure.
Now, if you drink soda, it's really not great for you, but I think we all drink it once in a while. 2-liter soda bottles are great. That's because they have to hold that pressure from the carbonated water. So that's a pretty high quality plastic that's going to hold the water for a while.
Sure.
Those Arizona iced tea bottles, those gallon jug of Arizona iced tea, those things are great for water storage. Milk jugs are not. That's a real thin. It's a real thin water, and they just degrade over time. And if that's the only thing if you can't afford to buy bottled water or whatever, and you really need a cheap way to store some water, do it. But keep them outside somewhere that they're not going to ruin anything when they leak, because they're going to leak.
Yeah. Well, they also leach too. I'd be a little concerned about the leaching of the plastics.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're the worst choice. They're the second worst choice. The worst choice is not having any water stored.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
But they're better than nothing.
Yep.
But and if you don't drink the Arizona iced tea or the soda or the juice, ask a neighbor, a family member, somebody that just throws that stuff out and puts it in the recycling. Yep. Ask them to save it up for you.
What's really funny is I have being here in Wisconsin. We learn how to make beer at such a young age. So no, I have a lot of friends. It's literally, I've got friends who are big time beer makers and stuff, and they go to bars. And they will get, because the bars, a lot of the bottles here, like Wisconsin, unlike Michigan, they're recyclable, but they're not returnable. You don't get any money back on them. In Michigan, you get 10 cents, so it's hard. So I've got buddies that will go to bars literally on the weekends, and they will pick up anywhere from 5 to 10 cases of beer bottles, and then they take them and they clean them out, and you can buy like 1,000 caps, beer bottle caps, And I was going to ask you about that. What is your feeling about that? Just bottling up water, just filling them up and then bottling. You know, of course, there's a cleaner. I got to send it to you that they use in the beer industry, and this is a non-toxic cleaner. It's used in the industry to clear out bottles, because obviously when you make beer, that is the perfect the perfect recipe and stuff for botulism. But it's a sanitizer that they use. It's a 2-part sanitizer, and you can drink it. It won't kill you, and it is the only sanitizer. I think they say that it's guaranteed to kill everything. And I was going to send it to you as a just as a kind of, hey, check this out. And so I was thinking about doing that, starting with my, like I said, I can go to my friend's house and pick up about 30 cases of beer bottles from him right now. I mean, he's got them stacked in his garage. His wife would love to get them out of the garage. And he still gets more. For some reason, he thinks that, he needs that many beer. Well, when these guys make beer, though, they'll brew up like 5 or 6 kegs at a time. So, they're big-time beer drinkers. It's Wisconsin. So I was going to ask you, what do you think about that? Have you ever heard of anybody doing that?
No.
Okay.
Sounds like a lot of work, to be honest with you, bottling up one individual bottles. I mean, it's, but, then you got single serving water. That's sure great.
Okay.
It says Bud Light, and it's water.
That's right. That's right. You could sell it. You could sell it to unsuspecting people. Just make sure you have your lead. You're plenty of lead.
And then the water catches it. That's another thing that would have worked in this particular instant in West Virginia, because your rainwater is not going to be contaminated.
Yep.
But even if you had a backup well or a stream or a creek, because it was leaching up out of the ground, none of that stuff would have worked for you. So the other thing you could have done is you could build a still, and that's as easy as just taking your tea kettle and getting some hose. If you got some copper piping, that's perfect.
Yep. And
you run that copper piping, a couple of feet over into a plastic jug, and just put a little seal on there to where the condensation is gonna drip into that jug. You're gonna have to have a little hole over there for the pressure to come out. Otherwise, that plastic jug's gonna blow up. But and you just seal that copper pipe right to the opening in your tea kettle where the steam comes out of your tea kettle, and let that run. If you don't have a steam kettle, you can do the same thing with your pressure cooker, because we just talked about canning a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And I know everybody's got a pressure cooker now.
Yeah.
So you just take the weight off. The top, the jiggy weight, you pull that off. You stick a tube on that, and you let the steam come out of that, and give it enough length to where it's going to cool off, and the condensation will turn back into a liquid and drip into your plastic jug.
And who's to say that you have these 55-gallon drums of water and you're walking through and you just happen to drop a little bit of a 20-pound bag of cornmeal in there, and God forbid, the sugar, a pound of sugar falls in there, and it starts bubbling and stuff, and then with your still. I mean, who's
hey, gasoline?
Yeah, that's right. We're making gasoline.
Medicinal purposes.
That's right. That's
sanitizer.
That's
you got a lot of you have a few uses there.
Well, it's
just behind just drunken debauchery.
Well, I've got to get there was a gentleman that years ago, he wrote a great book, and I've got the videos. I had the book, I loaned it, and of course it disappeared. It's never found its way back home. It's called Alcohol is a Gas. And basically, it's a manual on how to build stills for making ethanol. Now, our cars now that we own, they're all ethanol. Every one of them is ethanol. And the reason why I went that route is that, like I said, I have enough friends who do make beer and everything. So I do know how to ferment and everything just with these guys. And if it did hit the fan, I would have, being that we're here in Wisconsin and huge farm area, I mean, we would have ethanol. You go up to middle of Wisconsin, and you can buy ethanol like dirt cheap. The farmers are producing. I mean, that's what they're running their machinery on. But there's a great book called "Alcohol is a Gas," and I'd love to get them on the show and talk about that. Have you ever talk about water though? The Ecola Blue, the water generators from air. Have you looked at those yet?
No, I've got a dehumidifier because I lived in Florida. So,
yeah.
I mean, I can pull about 3 or 4 gallons a day.
Yeah.
Just out of my bedroom.
Well, that's what, yeah, exactly. That's what these guys, it's called Eco Blue. I've been looking at them for a while now. And these, they say that, they're not cheap. They're about $15. The cheapest one's about $1,200. The most expensive one's about $1,600. But they will actually produce 7 to 10 gallons of water a day. And they have their filter. They're filtered. They have the UV light. They have everything in them. And they even have a kit where you can hook it up to a solar panel. And it will actually run off of a 2-panel system. But it's Ecola Blue, ECOLOBLUE. And I didn't know if you heard of any, if you've heard of them or, yeah. I've been kind of watching them.
Technology. There's a lot of cool technology out there too that are into technology. There's a lot of low tech stuff you can do too. Yeah. You can build a solar still as well.
Yeah.
Basically it's a box and you got a flat bottom on it and you got a nice big square reservoir that you're going to put your contaminated water.
Sure.
If you live in Florida, you can put salt water in there, and then the top is just a clear plane of glass on an angle, so that the condensation goes up on that clear glass, or it could be plexiglass. The condensation goes up on that, and then it drips down that angle, and then at the bottom of the glass is a separate wet reservoir for your distilled water to drip into.
Yep. We actually, when I was in Boy Scouts, we actually made a couple of those using digging a hole and doing a black bag and the solar still with the rock in the middle and then the cup in the center.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything. But, we don't really, around here, we don't think about water that much, considering I'm literally a half a mile from the Great Lakes and stuff. But it is something that we do need to be concerned about, because
I know we don't think about it.
Yeah,
but the Great Lakes are one chemical spill away.
Yes.
From being just like West Virginia and people fighting over bottled water.
Yep. Well, I mean, we one of the things, we have that listeria disease here in Milwaukee, and we are always now they upgraded their water treatment plant, but Chicago's always having to shut its beaches down.
Wow. Because
of E. coli pollution. And they blame Milwaukee for it, and, whatever. Who knows? But I just, you're correct. So this weekend we are going to go pick up the blue jugs, and we're going to clean them out, and the only thing is we've got to get corks for them, or the stoppers. They don't have the stoppers, so we're gonna have to go get those. But
It should be easy enough to find.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking just
online if
I was thinking a 6 mil plastic, with a rubber band or a zip tie, just to seal it up. And I was going to ask you, I'm glad we had this topic, because you said bleach, because I was going to go down to Uline, which is a big industrial safety supply, and buy the water conditioner that you pour in there. But bleach. So how much bleach for a 55 gallon or 50 gallon?
Well, you would want to do the math. It's 8 drops per gallon.
Oh, okay.
So I would just do that and figure out how many tablespoons is in 8 drops, and then just multiply that by 50.
Perfect.
And bleaches, that's a good thing to always have a couple of gallons of extra bleach around, because if it's not a chemical spill, if it's a bacterial infection in your water, then 8 drops per gallon, that'll take that out. or if you had to get water from a stream that you don't really know what the source is, because a stream can be crystal clear one day, and the next day there can be a dead animal that drops over dead, and it just a quarter mile upstream from you, and you have no idea, and now you've got some nasty stuff in there.
When I was younger, we used to do a lot of hiking and stuff, and I've actually seen firsthand what Gerardia does to not me, but we used to have the is it HRS was the filters? They were like the pump filters. That we used to pull them out, but I had a buddy who was like, "Oh, this is fine," and he had a North American version of the Montezuma's Revenge, and it was not fun.
Oh,
especially so. I've learned you don't mess around with the water.
No.
There's a lot of bad things, and boil it at the worst case scenario. But like you said, if it's got chemicals in it or petrochemicals in it, boiling is not going to help you.
No, you're going to have to distill it. It's the only thing you can do with chemically contaminated water. You have to distill it. That's the only way to get it out. And even then, I would be worried that the chemicals inside. I don't know.
Off gas.
It depends on what the chemical is and what the boiling point is of that chemical. I guess you wouldn't want to.
You'd have to be careful because I don't
want to even trust distilling it.
Well,
unless you're a chemist.
Well, I know. I do know. Like I said, I've got buddies that distill. You're allowed to do so much, and it's literally, I think, alcohol, methanol. That's what makes you go blind. You hear about guys drinking moonshine, and they go blind. That's because of the methanol in it, and the temperature. Don't quote me. But there's a specific temp. I'm not even going to say it because you have some idiot out there doing it, and then I'll be wrong, and then they'll be blind. But the temperature variance is only 5 degrees difference between the methanol and the ethanol, and you have to there's a specific temperature it has to be at, or you will pick up. And that's why a lot of guys that do the moonshine and stuff, they throw out the first 2 or 3 jars as it's coming up. And
Tickle drinks it.
Oh, Tickle drinks it. Tickle's dead. No, Tickle's alive. It's Popcorn Sutton.
Yeah,
Popcorn Sutton. That's did you know why? I actually watched that special on him. He killed himself because of the revenuers. He was going to jail.
Yeah.
And he said no more. So you can still buy his stills. You can actually there's a company in Kentucky that actually makes copper stills by his design, from his design and stuff. And of course they're works of art. They're not made to be used. so I just but
a good small filter system, which is great because you need a filter system for your bug out bag. Of course you can get the tablets, purification tablets, but they've got a little bit of a funky taste.
Yeah. And
then there's you can just use bleach drops as well, and that's also it's gonna taste a little funny.
Yep.
But the Catadine, that's my favorite. That's my favorite compact filter.
The MSR is the one I believe is the one that I used to use. MSR made. They also made the stove.
Yeah.
And the stove that would burn any, that's what it is. The MSR, that's the hand pump one.
Catadine's works the same way.
Exactly. And then the thing about the MSR is they also make that stove that will burn any fuel, and those things are awesome. I can tell you, I've lived off of those things for a long time in the woods when I was younger and crazy. I'd disappear. It used to drive my parents crazy. I mean, me and a good friend of mine, Sean, we would literally disappear for 3-4 weeks and just, no one knew where we were at. And we're out in the mountains and the Smokies and all over the great Appalachia area. So
and I'm looking at the MSRs, and it looks like they're about the same price as the Catadines. It's about $90.
Yep.
And the Catadine Hiker Pro is about $90.
Yep.
Now I don't know what the what the specs are on the MSR, but I suspect they're probably about the same. The Hiker Pro will filter 300 gallons. Yeah. So that's pretty good for a pocket filter. Now, the Katadyn Pocket, now it's a little pricier. It's $370, but it will filter 13,000 gallons on one filter. So that's 43 times more water for 4 times the price.
Wow.
But sometimes when you're on a budget, especially if you're first starting out prepping, you want to get something, and that $400 filter might be a little bit of a big ticket item, but you can spring for the $90 one.
Yep.
So get what you can. If you got the money for the $400 one, it's a better bargain.
Well, yeah, it's like I tell people,
43 times more water for 4 times the price.
Yeah.
But get what you can, and something's better than nothing. That's for sure.
750 liters of water is what the MSR will do. So I don't know how many before you have to change out the filters. So I don't know how many gallons that is. Well, it's like I tell people, though, when we're talking about guns and stuff, get the gun. Any gun's better than no gun. And if you don't have a gun, get a knife.
It's 200 gallons.
Yeah, so that's what the MSR. So that's okay. Got to find something better.
But I mean, that's decent. That's going to get you. If you had the bug out, 200 gallons is going to, that's 200 days worth of water for an individual. That's 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah.
So, I mean, keep you alive for a little while until you come up with something else.
Yep.
Which it's, that's really what it's for. It's to get you through a crisis.
Yeah.
To make sure you've got clean drinking water through a crisis.
Yes.
So.
But to your point, though, is if you got chemicals, that's the thing. Is a lot of people go, I've got this or I've got that. Well, if you got chemicals, you don't have anything.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. I mean,
it's only what you stored.
Yep.
And now, in most situations, you'd be able to use the water that's built up in your hot water tank.
Yep.
You just cut a little breathing room in the pipe up there, and unscrew the release valve at the bottom. And if you got a 50-gallon tank, then you got 50 gallons of water in there. But now, if you had the contamination and it's in your water supply, it's in your tank.
Yep.
So once again, it's only what you had stored up.
Yep, prior to.
Right.
Prior to. So, makes me think. I'm out here looking at Army surplus, 500-gallon water tanks. I wonder how my neighbors would like that. Oh, by the way.
Now, for the best bang for your money, for how much water you can filter, those big Berkeys are the things. And now that's a gravity system, so you're not pumping, But of course, also they don't fit in the bug out bag either.
Yeah.
They're like one of those big things that when you go to a hotel and there's a convention and they've got the big huge water tank or the big thing with the tea or coffee in it. It's like the big stainless steel thing. It's like that, and it holds about 2.5 gallons that it'll filter at a time, and it does everything by gravity, so there's no pumping. They're about $250 to buy the original filter, and then the original container, and then the replacement filters are 2 for $100.
Yeah. And
each one of those replacement filters will filter 3,000 gallons.
Yep.
So that's a lot better deal than
I'm a big
you're going to get with the Katadyn, but you're getting the Katadyn to get you through a crisis and to get you from point A to point B, or to get you through a few days.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of ProPure. I mean, I really like their filtration systems. You can get the different elements in them, which they have the one element. You can go, I think, with a 3-element system, which actually is better than the Berkey.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and so they have actually, I'm out here at Mountain View Off-Grid Living right now, and they have the 2 with the D filters for $299. That's the big guy.
Very cool.
Yep. That will do, and I'm just looking at this. It's got a 4-gallon capacity at one time, and like you said, it is gravity fed. So that big one will do. Yeah. See, this is the one. This is why I like this. Is if you go chlorine, chloramides. The only thing it won't do, you can get the DM filter, though. That's why I like it. You get the DM filter, and it will take out the fluoride, and that comes with it. And then that will do.
Yeah, that's nice to be getting that stuff out.
Yeah, and that's why I like the Pro Pures. They actually have a filter. I believe the Berkey now has a filter, but this one is actually standard. This is a standard filter, and it will do 2,000 gallons. So 2,000 gallons or 2 years is on a set of filters. So for $290, if you go out to Mountain View Off-Grid Living for $299, you get a set of the filters, the large, and it's just, and of course they have a lot of different things.
Yeah, and that's definitely the thing to have for your house and for your retreat.
Yep.
And then you got your little Catadine pump thing to go in your bug out bag.
Yep. Well, they have, actually, I do have one of these. I have mine's a different company. I have to look at it. ProPure has it's a light sports filtration bottle. It removes 99% of Giardia and Clitosporium. It's got the, improves taste and limited odor. It reduces toxic chemicals like DDT, MTBE, and arsenic. Reduces heavy metals, mercury, lead, blah, 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 blah. Micron 3 radioactive. So they actually have a drinking bottle, and it does 100 gallons.
Wow.
It's a drink, it's like a sports bottle for $24.
Wow.
$24.95.
Very good.
So there you go. Oh, well. All right, my friend.
Jeff, good talking to you.
Nice
again,
talking
man.
to you. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
And
I'm going to be traveling next weekend, so I'm going to be getting ready to roll out probably next Thursday. So I won't be around next Thursday, but I will catch you the week after. Yep,
I will. I am actually. It was funny. We downloaded we actually got everything done for the shows. I was going to tell you, we're going to start pushing what day. I know we have this conversation on the air, but it's the only time we really get to talk because I know you're busy with the book and stuff. What day do you want to be on the network? When do you want your show to air, my friend?
Man, that's up to you.
No, it's up to you. What day do you want? Pick a day. Monday. All right. Monday at what time? What's a good time for you?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock it is, my friend. Right before me.
All right.
We'll do Prep or Recon. We'll kind of okay. We'll start getting them in there and getting them in the program and then getting it on the schedule and stuff. So
awesome. Once
again, for everybody that's listening, get out to prepperrecon.com. Great site. I've been spending a lot of time on your site lately. You're posting a lot more articles than you usually do. What's up with that?
Well, after the new year, we try to pump it up. I'm trying to get 2 podcasts out a week.
Yeah.
Plus, I usually re-air the Midnight Patriot.
Oh, thank you.
When we're on, so I usually re-air that, and then so that's 3 broadcasts a week.
Sure.
So
sure.
Just trying to get more information out.
Yeah.
Time's short. We got it.
We do. People
woken up and.
We do. We have to, it is so critical that we get people, it's just, we are pressed for time. This is not something that we can do, we got a few more years or whatever. It's coming. Mm-hmm. It's coming. I mean,
we may have another year. We may have 2 more years, but in the grand scheme of preparedness, that is not long at all.
Well, it's not.
Especially with everybody's, our currencies being devalued at breakneck speed.
Yep.
And so everybody's crunched.
Yep.
We're down to 62%. I think we talked about that last week. That we're down to 60% labor force participation. So that means 38% of the population isn't working.
It's unbelievable. And I did something simple today. I was looking at and I know that we talk about this, but for our listeners out there, you can do, food. We'll talk about food. I mean, I went to Costco, or to Sam's, not Costco, but Sam's here. They have like oatmeal. They have a box of 52 oatmeal. That's $22 for a box of 52. You buy 4 of those boxes. There's that's 1 year's worth of breakfast oatmeal. Yeah. And it's not 4 of the box. That's $100. Yeah. $100, and then you got your breakfast. And I'm trying to tell people this. You don't have to go out and spend the $3,000. Now, if you've got it, then absolutely do it for a year's supply of food for your family. Mm-hmm. But you can start out doing this. Roman noodles. They're selling a case of 24 Roman noodles, so you get 2 of those a month. So you're looking at 48 for $9 for 24 Roman noodles for $9 at Sam's.
And there's always everybody's has buy one get one free, or some kind of comparable deal like that at one of the grocery stores where they're at, and most of the time you can find a manufacturer's coupon and a store coupon on the buy one get one free stuff. So you basically can almost get both items free. And you get 10 cans of soup extra and 10 cans of I think we talked about that when we talked about food storage, the Chef Boyardee stuff, from a taste standpoint, it's an absolute abomination, but it's loaded with fat and calories and carbohydrates, which in a survival situation keeps you alive, and I'm in South Florida, so there's a lot of Cuban cuisine here, and I love Cuban food, and I love that all the things that revolve around that, the mojo pork and the adobo chicken and all of that kind of thing, and then all that goes with rice and beans, and Louisiana, they eat a lot of rice and beans there too, but rice and beans it's number one, it's really beans especially are very, very healthy for you. It's a great lot of protein and fiber in there, but it's cheap. You get a pound, and this is any Walmart, and everybody's got a Walmart within 50 miles of them. It's $1 a pound. And that'll keep you alive for a couple of days, a bag of dried beans. And then you can get those 20-pound bags of rice. I think they've got those at Walmart for about $7. A 20-pound bag of rice.
You can get a 30 or 40-pound bag of rice at Sam's for $9.95.
Wow. See? I mean, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, and you get a 5-gallon bucket, and you put a Mylar liner in there, which you can get on Amazon you get 10 Mylar liners with 10 oxygen absorbers for $20. You drop that Mylar liner in that 5-gallon bucket. You put a 20-pound bag of rice in there and 15 bags of 1-pound bags of assortment of different types of beans. And the white rice will cook in about 20 minutes. You just follow directions. There's no rocket science to it. It's a cup of a cup of the dried rice and 2 cups of water, and you put it on simmer for 20 minutes and cover it. Put a little salt in there.
And you know what? When you're starving, it doesn't matter if you burn it or undercook it or overcook it. It's food. I calculated it up today for about $320. You can buy enough food, just oatmeal and Roman noodles, and you get different flavors of Roman noodles for $325. You can buy enough food for one person. Now, granted, it's not going to be nowhere near what some of us have as far as food goes, but I will tell you, it's better than nothing. And when you're starving or when you're hungry. And but I did the math today to kind of
better than stray dog, right?
It's better than stray dog. Should be quiet. We like our dogs. That's the big one for me. Is I'm sitting there looking at Buddy, going, "All right, you go through a 40-pound bag of dog food a month. That's he's expensive, but
if he's hungry, he'll eat beans and rice.
He'll just eat. He'll eat. Well, we eat what we tell them to eat, right? And stuff. So, once again, Mark, thank you for joining us, my friend. Take care of yourself until we talk.
Fighting the good fight, man.
Thank you. So there you go, Mark Mark Prepper Recon. Get out to his website. That's prepperrecon.com. That's prepperrecon.com for all things prepping. Also, join us over here at Mountain View Off-Grid Living. We got the new ads up for them, by the way. We'll get some up for Prepper too, to promote his site. And one of the things that, what I want to do is let's take a break. Got to take a break. Every once in a while we need to, forget about it. We'll just go ahead and talk through. We're already into our 11 o'clock hour and everything. So we'll continue on. We will soldier on and just kind of go through this. So some of the changes, obviously, at patriotfb.com, we're adding more and more members every day. It's incredible. But Patriot Radio, get out there at patriotfb.com/radio or just click on the links. Now, what we have done is that we were able to, through code, we tried many different ways of doing it. And I got to tell you, it's not that easy because even though we are all on the same network, we all use different systems. So getting all those systems integrated and being able to have them, rebroadcast all that stuff, it was not easy. But we worked it. We cracked the code actually this morning or this afternoon. We were able to crack the code. So we have it. So we tested it out with JJ McCarty Show. So now if you go out to Prepper Recon, go out to Prepper Recon. But if you go out to patriotfb.com, you join us there. As the shows change throughout the day and everything, we'll be playing music. Obviously, we're not changing that format. Classic country, classic rock, and then modern country. And then, of course, with our shows, we got AVN in the mornings from 8 to 10. We got JJ McCarty from 2 to 4. We're going to have Prepper Recon on Mondays. We're, at 7. And then, of course, you got the Midnight Patriot show. We're also going to have Mac Worley on the move on Sundays. And then also throughout the week, he will be on as well. But get out there, get supportive, support what we're doing. I'll tell you, we made a huge investment into this, and the reason why we do it, we know, like good investments, we got to grow them, and the only way that we're going to grow it is that we got to get you guys, our listeners, you guys got to tell your friends about us, and we're not asking for any, it's a standard radio station, but it's going to be mixed with great music. And on top of that, we're going to have great content, great news stories and stuff of that nature up there. So get out there, help support us, do what you're doing. If you want to support the efforts that we're doing here at Patriot FB, the best way that you can do it, if you got any old CDs laying around and everything, shoot me an email, Jeff at themidnightpatriot.com. That is Jeff, Jeff at themidnightpatriot.com. Love to have them. And the reason why I ask is because obviously, we're doing this legally. We're not a pirated internet radio station. We have paid all of the fees to everybody. And so one of the things that we have to do is, we get audited and we have to produce monthly reports and stuff. And we need to make sure that the music that we play is legal and that we actually own or are in possession of it. So most of the music that we have are collections that I've accumulated over the years. And also JJ McCarty being of the radio show, the radio broadcasting, he has several. So we've been building that up. But if there's music you'd like to hear, whatever on the show, and you have old CDs laying around, please, send them on, shoot me an email, Jeff at themidnightpatriot.com, and anything you guys can do would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I want to say also, get out to freedomprepper.com. That's freedomprepper.com. Scott, great website. News articles. I get a lot of my source information off of his. There are a lot of great articles. I know that, some of the guys that participate in the show here actually write and post articles up there, Joe and Scott, but get out to his website. Now he's doing something that is just really, really cool. And this is a great segue as we kind of roll in here into the end of the show and everything. One of the things that he's doing, one of the fights that I tell people every chance I get, is that we have 22 men and women, 22 soldiers every day that commit suicide in this country. This is after they fought the fight. They've honored this nation, this country. They honored themselves and their families. They come home to only find despair and lack of hope. And for whatever reason, whatever they're going through, they decide to end their lives. And that is a tragedy. 22 is too many. And I'll say this again and again. 22 in a day, 22 in a week, 22 in a month, 22 in a year, 22 in a decade, 22 in a century. It is 22 too many, and we need to put a stop to it. And the greater travesty is the fact that these men and women have honored their contract with this country. Our country hasn't honored our agreements and commitments to them, and that's a travesty. When a soldier has to wait on average 354 days before they receive the benefits, and sometimes that's an average, so that tells you there's a lot more days past that, that these soldiers are not getting the benefits that they deserve and the benefits that they're entitled to. But yet, certain individuals can walk into because of bad decisions that they've made in their lives and the fact that they're not contributing to society. And I'm just going to be blunt. There's no political correctness here at this show. They can walk into a social service office and within 30 days get housing, get health care, get all those perks that this country gives out freely to those that really don't deserve it. And it's a travesty. You need to, if you pick up any fight in this Patriot movement, that's the fight I want you to pick up. Start becoming a voice for these soldiers. Let this country know, let these politicians know that we're not going to stand for it. If you're going to sit at a rally and you're going to blast a politician, hold that sign up. What a disgrace that you dishonor our American soldiers. Hold that sign up. I'd like to see them arrest you for protesting because you're defending the American soldiers. And to be honest with you, when they do arrest you because you're defending the American soldiers, that will let the American soldiers know who's actually in their corner. They already know, but sometimes we got to let them see it, let them know that we're out there and everything. And with that, I know we have a lot of new listeners tonight. We do a segment here to honor our fallen, and with that, we want to start that.
The soldiers of America, they put their lives on the line, gave up their own right to freedom, so you could have yours and I could have mine, alright.
Army Staff Sergeant First Class William K. Lacey,
They come from a one
January 4th, 2013. January 1st, Martin Sergeant, Marine Sergeant Jacob M. Hess, January 1st, 2014. Air Force Captain David I. Loyne, December 27th, 2013. Marine Sergeant Daniel M. Millessen, December 23rd, 2013. Army Chief Warrant Officer, Second Class, Randy L. Billings, December 17, 2013. Army Sergeant Peter Bowler, December 17, 2013. Army Sergeant First Class Omar W. Forte, December 17, 2013. Army Specialist Terry K.D. Gordon, December 17, 2013. Army Chief Warrant Officer, Second Class, Joshua B. Silverman, December 17, 2013. Army Staff Sergeant Jesse L. Williams, December 17, 2013. Marine Lance Corporal Matthew R. Rodriguez, December 11, 2013. And Navy Petty Officer First Class James L. Smith, December 11, 2013. I just want to say, as we wrap up tonight's show and stuff, thank you, Prepper Recon Mark, for joining us. And, get out and take a look. Mark's got a great book. It's called American Exit Strategy. And he's got book 1, and now he's finished it. Book 2 is actually going to print, and looking forward to it, man. I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to reading book number 2. The other thing, too, is get out to our friends at Mountain View Off-Grid Living. Check them out. They, Sue's been kind of offline for a while there at Patriot FB. I know she's back there dealing, got some things going on. We all got to take a break. I know Joe is taking a well-needed break. A little vacation, which he needs to do and everything. But, Joe, you're missed. And, hope to get you back in the game. But take as long as you need, take a break. You can't run this pace and continue to continue on doing what we're doing. It's a hard fight, and it's not easy. I know, I did it over the holidays and stuff. But also get out to freedomprepper.com. Take a look at Scott's site. He is going to be doing some T-shirts for the 22 that we were talking about, the 22 soldiers, and I'm excited to see what they look like. I'm going to place my order with them and get those out there. I was talking to Stone Anthony today, who's kind of leading this charge. I'm sure we're going to sell a lot of those shirts and everything. Get yours out there at Freedom Prepper. We'll also do a link here at patriotfb.com. I'll buy a large quantity from them and get those out there. And like I said, if it's baby steps, little steps. So start out small. Do what, $300. You can get enough food for one person for $300 for a year. I mean, it's not going to be gourmet food. It's not going to be, but you know what? It'll be enough. You can get your Roman noodles. You can get your ramen noodles. Ramen noodles. You can get your rice, your beans, your lentils, all of that stuff for about $300. Now, when you want to start moving up and everything, like I said, get out to mountainviewoffgridliving.com. They have packages, canned meats, which are just incredible. I can tell you, I did the pork, and it was awesome. And if I didn't tell Sandy that it was in a can, or she didn't say it was in a can, she would have never known. It was incredible food, and I highly recommend the products and the services. And one of the things too is when you buy from Mountain View Off Grid Living, not only are you supporting a small business, but you're also talking to the owner. When you call and speak with Sue, you're not talking to some customer CSR rep or whatever. You're talking to the owners of the company, and the amount of knowledge that she has in prepping, 30 plus years. And canning and everything is just incredible. So get out there, support them. Also support Stone Anthony 2016, a real American in the White House. That's our campaign slogan that I'm giving to them, and everything. But more importantly, also stay in touch. And the best way to do that is join us here at patriotfb.com. Hit the radio. Go out to the radio if you're at work. I will tell you, it runs on port 80. What does that mean? It means it's not blocked by firewalls. If you can go out over the internet and surf a web page at work or wherever you're at, you can actually listen to the Patriot FB radio. It's not blocked, unlike Pandora and some of those other services. And, it's all about, helping each other out. If there's anything we can do here to help you, if you have a website, if you have a podcast, of a podcast or anything like that, please let us know. It's all about community here. We are doing tremendous. And one of the things that we did, I'll just let you guys know, if you want to start a podcast and you don't have the money to invest and everything, the reason why we set up our network the way it is that you don't have to. We actually have the bandwidth and the feeds for you. All you have to have is the desire to do the show. We'll even help you, structure your show and get you going and everything. So, reach out to me. Shoot me an email, jeff@themidnightpatriot.com. Also listen to some of the other shows that are out there that we're doing. AVN from 8 until 10 in the morning. JJ McCarty from 2 until 4. Of course, Prepper Recon's now going to be at 7. You got Mac Worley on the move. We're going to fit him in. Obviously, he does a show at 7 on Sundays, but we're also going to rebroadcast his show during the week. Cowboy Logic Radio, which runs on Tuesday night from 8 p.m. we're adding just more and more shows every week. And on top of that, we got great music. We're playing classic rock, classic country. Now, I will tell you this. Once we fill up the 24/7 window, and I'm talking from 8 a.m. until midnight, once we fill that up with talk and news and shows, we will spin off another music channel. So the music's not going to go anywhere. It's just that, we're just kind of filling it in right now until we can get all of the shows in. Once we get them on, then we'll start channel number 2. And then that will be music, and then we're going to fill those in, and then we'll do channel 3, channel 4, and then you'll have a full selection of what you want to listen to and everything. But once again, thank you. May God bless you. Thank you for your support and everything. We are growing this site. 1.4 million hits last month. That's incredible. And I'm going to post those numbers up there so you guys can see them. I'm trying to figure out how we can do that with our web. We use a company called Web Trends that does that, so we'll get those posted up. And also with our Google Analytics. But may God bless you. May God keep you. Until we talk again, my friends, if there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. Reach out to us. Send me an email, jeff@themidnightpatriot.com. Now, tomorrow's show is going to be open lines. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about, bring your conversation. We'd love to have you. And, make sure that, make sure that you keep it frosty, my friends.